I think we all know by now that the internet is a weird place. A place where people of completely different outlooks and ideals on the world can communicate their feelings. But with the rise of the internet came the inevitable rise of forums and communities. Everyone knows how weird forums can get. We've all seen the memes of the Reddit moderators, but I don't think anyone really understands the depth of some of these forums. Links to terrorism, racism, alt-right groups, conspiracies, and all the other ones that I can't say on YouTube. Today, lady and man, we are taking a deep dive into two of the worst forum sites to ever exist. We are, of course, talking about 4chan and its evil younger brother, 8chan. We're going to start off light with 4chan. Now, I say light, but some of the stories that come from this website are messed up. But they do not compare to the horrors of the stories I am going to tell you from 8chan. 4chan was created by teenage entrepreneur Christopher Poole in 2003. Originally, Poole was a user of a different forum site called Something Awful, one of the internet's most active discussion forums at the time. However, Something Awful was heavily moderated, and its community discouraged memes, which is strange for a forum site. So Poole decided it was time to take matters into his own hands, and he created his own forum site that didn't have those restrictions. He created 4chan. And what exactly was it that Poole wanted to post that wasn't allowed on Something Awful? It was anime. Yeah. I guess the 4chan moderator memes are accurate. Eventually, 4chan started to garner a reputation and gain more users, due to the reputation of it having an extremely relaxed moderation policy. Any content and speech that wasn't explicitly illegal in the United States was allowed. So it became a safe haven for conspiracy theorists and far-right movements. And here's a little fun fact. The infamous hacking group Anonymous started on 4chan. That's kind of cool, I think. Now, obviously, a place where all kinds of speech was allowed would be a breeding ground for extremists, right? Yes, it was. I'm sure you have all heard about the conspiracy theory Pizzagate. And if you haven't, I am not talking about it here. I am not a conspiracy theorist YouTube channel, as much as I am a conspiracy theorist myself. Pizzagate originally started on 4chan as a discussion, just a group of conspiracy theorists theorizing about the world's elites. But it didn't take too long for it to get taken to the next level of extreme. Eventually, users were able to narrow down a specific restaurant where all the world leaders went to have their pizza time.
Pizza time.
I'm not sure how they came to the conclusion that this exact restaurant was holding a file ring for the world elites in the basement, but they were convinced. So obviously the next logical step was to walk into the restaurant full of innocent workers and customers with an assault rifle, which happened. In 2016, a man walked into the restaurant brandishing an assault rifle, asking to see the basement where the file ring was held. And the basement didn't exist. So the man was arrested and sentenced to 4 years for the ordeal. But 3 years later, some more 4chan members tried to set the restaurant on fire, which failed. And they were sentenced to 4 years for the ordeal. 4chan sounds like a pretty fun place, right? In 2014, a user on 4chan started posting cryptic messages on the site. Eventually, this man confessed to and killed his girlfriend. But at first, no one believed him. So he posted photos of the victim. And even after this, users assumed that it was all some big hoax. But this is barely scratching the surface of 4chan. There are so many wild stories to come from that site. Like the time they managed to come together and fake Steve Jobs' death, which ended up crashing the Apple shares. I'm not kidding. 4chan is crazy, but it doesn't hold a candle to the stories that I'm going to tell you from 8chan. So buckle your seatbelts, grab a snack, and prepare your noggins for some heavy shit. 8chan was created in 2013 by Frederick Brennan, a self-taught computer programmer. Brennan's site was very similar to 4chan, but it gave users the ability to create their own forum boards. Initially, 8chan only had a handful of users, but in 2014, when 4chan banned the chat of Gamergate, a controversy about ethics in video game journalism that was essentially just a targeted attack towards women in video games, which led to a bunch of women getting doxxed, death threats, and threats. So yeah, you can see why it was banned. But after this ban, 8chan allowed it, and all those members moved to 8chan. So 8chan had the same explosion in popularity that 4chan did, and it happened for the exact same reason. But 8chan was somehow even more relaxed than 4chan was. I wonder what will come from this. 8chan became a hub for extremists, even more than 4chan was. It didn't take long for the site to be known as the ecosystem and breeding ground of some of the world's worst people. The biggest controversies to come from 8chan was the abundance of discussions of mass shootings and terror acts, which at first stayed as discussions, never being more than words typed into a forum, until 2019, where an Australian man posted on a forum, "It's time to stop shitposting." That man... It's actually hard to talk about. That man then stormed into 2 New Zealand mosques, camera strapped to his head, and he opened fire. 8chan was the first to know. Slightly over a year later, a 19-year-old took to 8chan posting a goodbye note, with a nod to the people that he considered his tribe. He posted, "It's been real, dudes. A visitor noticed and called the FBI, but by then he was armed with an assault rifle and entered a San Diego synagogue. Together the gunmen took the lives of 52 innocent people." After the New Zealand attacks, the site was blocked by service providers in Australia and New Zealand. I apologise that I've lost my energy. I don't like talking about stuff like that. I usually make videos on bad reality TV shows. Don't know why that affected me so much. Anyway, 8chan was removed, but somehow still exists today. So I decided to have a quick browse on 8chan, which still exists under a slightly different name. And yeah, it's still very bad. I am not sure why places like 4chan and 8chan exist. I understand the desire for freedom of speech, but the dangers of creating a place where people can conspire about violent attacks against innocent people is a terrible, terrible idea. And the fact that these forums haven't been shut down and hold some of the most horrific discussions that I've ever seen is mind-boggling. Anyway guys, have you ever used 4chan or 8chan? Did I miss any stories? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe.